So I wanted to try something different tonight and show you guys what I look for when I'm doing cityscape photography. I tend to shoot at longer exposure times, so this one right here is at 25 seconds. I'm using f8 with the Zeiss Loxia 21mm f2.8, and I also try to underexpose when I'm doing my shots, especially at nighttime. And I tend to stick with the base ISO. So with this, I'm trying to frame it out with the rule of thirds and keep it as straight as possible. So I want to see what we can get out of this photo when we shoot it. So after the 25 seconds, this is what we got. As you can see, very nice reflections. It's very sharp. There's no movements. I am using a tripod when I'm shooting these type of photos. It's very difficult to even hold the camera at 1 second without a tripod. So keep that in mind when you're trying to shoot these type of photos, especially at nighttime when you need longer exposures, if you're gonna try to keep the base ISO. So one thing that I want to mention is when I'm doing cityscape photography, I always try to pay attention to my surroundings, and it helps to like turn around and see what's around you. You'd be surprised what kind of frames you'll find. And this is literally me turning to the left and seeing a completely different frame. Now, if you notice on the settings on the bottom, you'll notice that I am overexposed. And in order to fix that, I have two options. I can either change the shutter speed, because currently it's at 25 seconds, or I can change the aperture on the lens. Because this lens tends to perform really well at f8, I'm gonna just reduce the shutter speed until I'm basically underexposing by a little bit. So right now I set it up to 5 seconds, and we'll see what happens when I shoot it. And I know you guys can't see this, but actually when I was shooting this, a guy was passing by, and that's also one of the reasons I shoot at longer exposures, because if somebody does cross by my frame, I definitely don't want to see them in my shot. And if I want to get rid of people, the easiest way to do that is to use longer exposure times. So when you do that, it removes literally any movement, like any movement from your photos. So for example, if a person is crossing, a bird flies by, or whatever you're trying to do, and you don't want that in your frame, longer exposures will get rid of that because they are moving as you're taking the photo. So I moved a bit further down, and I'm gonna readjust my tripod. And also you notice that I'm kind of really underexposed here. I'm at -1.7, so I can, like I said, either change the f-stop or change the shutter speed. I'd rather change the shutter speed and shoot it from there. I tend to look for the best compromise between these shots. So one other thing that I do with my Sony is I zoom in to make sure that things are in focus. I'm shooting in manual focus. The Loxia lineup is fully manual. There's no autofocus, none of that stuff. So you do have to spend a little bit more time when you're shooting these type of lenses, but the results are phenomenal on these. Super sharp, as you guys can see. Great colors. This is straight out of the camera. There's no editing on this, and I'm very happy with these shots. And I tend to shoot more than once. I might move around a little bit, get a different frame, see if I like it more, and I'll shoot the same thing again, just to get a better feel, or maybe get a different angle, and then I can choose when I'm choosing my photos which one I like the best. One thing that I do like to do when I'm shooting is I'm not afraid to shoot in the same area in different locations. It's kind of helpful to get familiar with the area, and also even if you go back to the same spot, the areas do change. So as you can see, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna actually change my ISO back to 100. I had changed it before, and I'm gonna make sure that this is nice and sharp. So what I'll do is I'll change my positioning a little bit, and I'll make sure that I zoom in and ensure that it's sharp as I want. Like I said, this is a manual focus lens, so I can fine tune, making sure that it's 100% the way I want it before I commit and shoot the photo. And there it is. Crazy nice reflections. Very happy with that. Great colors. I mean, I cannot complain. I'm very happy with these lenses. I'll do another shot just in case. And same deal. At this point, I was thinking of switching over to the Zeiss Loxia 35mm. So I'm gonna do that really quick and show you guys how I reposition everything. And you can see that the frame is different. It's a 35mm. It's a bit closer, and you can see that the look is different. So I'll do the same thing. I'll zoom in, refocus, because sometimes, you know, things change a little bit, especially when you're taking the lens off. Refocus and do my shot. And I really like this lens, the 35mm. I tend to shoot this one at f11. I feel that the image is really sharp across the board at f11, and it has a lot of great detail. Very sharp. And that's it. This is like a basic overview of what I do when I'm doing cityscape photography.